On November 10th, I usually think back a little farther than 1 year, and I think about news, I think about the weather, and I think about November 10th, and me being the young news director at WSMM FM radio in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. My normal routine was I'd stop by the city police, I'd stop by the state police on my way to the station and check the blotter, see if there was any action for me to report in my news broadcast. And that night, the blotter had power outage reports, wind gusts knocking down power, knocking out limbs and branches, taking out the power lines, and buildings were out of power was the main thing I saw. I remember seeing several trees down on my way to the station. And I got there around 5:30 in the afternoon. At 6 o'clock, I did my 5-minute newscast reporting mostly about the weather. And the radio station back then was all country. And it was pre-recorded music program for 55 minutes each hour, and then a live 5-minute news broadcast on the hour. As the stories about the storm came over the wire, I was wondering what's going on out on the lakes. Now, shortly after my 7 p.m. newscast, I decided to call Coast Guard Base Sioux. I rang their phone, asked for the officer of the watch. Simply asked him, "What's happening out on the lakes?" His reply, "Well, we haven't heard from the Fitzgerald in about 15 minutes. I said, "What do you think happened?" "Don't know." "Anyone else out there?" "Yes, we're talking to the captain of the Arthur M. Anderson." "What's he saying?" "He has been following the Fitzgerald." "Where are they?" "Out in Lake Superior, west of Whitefish Bay." I thanked the officer and told him I'll call him back in 15 minutes. So I sat back listening to country music and wrote the story for my 8 p.m. news that night. My story was about the storm, of course, and 2 ships trying to make safe harbor, and that one of them, the Edmund Fitzgerald, had lost contact with the Coast Guard. After the broadcast, I called back to the officer of the watch. "Have you heard from Fitzgerald?" "No." "Still talking to the Anderson?" "Yes." "What's he saying?" "He is circling." "Do you think the Fitzgerald went down?" "Don't know." "What's it like out there?" He said, "We're hearing reports of snow, gale force winds, and waves up to 35 feet. I called United Press International to read them my story, and they sent it out on the wire November 10th, 1975.